right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the ATX Creator Meetups Podcast. I am here today with my friend, fellow creator here in Austin, Ferdie.dev. Thank you so much for joining me. It's exciting to have you here.
Of course.
We've known each other for a minute now, and yeah, we connected through Threads, through Instagram, power of social media. I'm so happy that you're here to talk about community, talk about the brands that you have developed over the years.
Yeah.
Man, I guess we can just get started with, I guess first, we all have an origin story. So many people moved to Austin.
Yeah.
What is your Austin origin story? And also, like, why Austin?
Right. First, I want to say thank you, Steve, for having me on here to talk about my experience so far in the creative space. I moved to Austin about 5 years ago in 2020. I'm from New York. Work brought me over here. And yeah, I've been creating content for about 3 years now, and I'm learning a lot, being in the creative space, all the challenges, the cons that comes with it, the pros, all that good stuff. So yeah, I'm excited to be here to just chop it up and talk about my experience in the creative space in general. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much, man. I'm
Of course.
so glad that you're here. Let's get started on how you arrived in Austin. Um, every hero has a origin story, right?
Yeah.
So, what brought you here, and like, were there any other cities that were kind of in the running? Some people, right, like moved to Austin on a whim. They're like, I picked the city on a map.
Yeah.
But I know that you're someone who moves a little more intentionally. So let's hear about that.
Yeah. So I moved here in 2020. During the pandemic, actually, it was crazy when I first, I moved from New York. The COVID hit. New York got shut down. Nothing was happening, and I just
What a
moved.
time to move.
Yeah, yeah, during the summer. So I was after graduating college. I got lucky. I already had a job secured here, and so they moved me out here to Austin. But yeah, just moved. Literally knew nobody in the city. Didn't have any friends. Didn't have any connections. I just moved. Stayed in the hotel for about 2 weeks. Got a car, found an apartment. Started a whole brand new life here in Austin.
Wow.
But yeah, 5 years later, still here. The city has been great to me, I would say. A lot of development has, happened in my personal life just from moving out here and just being independent, just figuring out life by myself. But I would say, yeah, the city has been great to me so far, and I'm grateful to be here
That's awesome.
for sure.
So, I mean, you came from a pretty creative city in New York. It's
Yeah.
known for its creativity. Do you feel that you really tapped into that creativity here? Do you feel like if you didn't move to Austin, do you feel like you would have moved into your creative endeavors?
Probably not.
No?
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, New
When I
York.
was, when I was, back in New York, it was mostly just work and
Okay.
school, and I didn't really
Yeah.
tap into, the creative space out there. And like I said, a lot of personal development just kind of happened to me after moving out here to Austin. So I discovered a lot of who I am, being
Yeah.
out here by myself here in Austin. So I probably wouldn't be creating content or doing anything in a creative space if I hadn't moved out here to Austin. Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense. Sometimes you have to get away, you have to change scenery, and kind of reflect for a bit
for sure. 100%.
before you figure out the next move, the next chapter, and having that time to yourself without distraction, without like the day to day that you're used to.
Yeah,
Sounds like that was essential for you to figure out like your creative passions.
100%.
So tell me about like what inspired you to start Ferdie Dev, and what then led to Creator Brand Hub, because I
Right.
think there's definitely like some succession here.
For sure. I'm gonna first talk about what made me start Ferdie.dev. Like I said, I moved here right after I graduated college, and during that time, I knew how hard it was when I was in that whole interview process because I went to school, I did computer science in college. And the next thing for me to do was to secure a software engineering job or to find a job in the tech space. And during that phase where I was interviewing and trying to make connections, trying to see what was behind the curtains in the tech scene, trying to figure out what was out there, just reaching out to people who kind of look like me, because obviously there's a connection there. And
Yeah.
I know how hard that process was. And reaching out to folks on LinkedIn, for example, trying to find emails and sending out a bunch of emails and not getting a response back, that kind of hurt a little bit. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
you take it personal, at a certain point, and so I did a lot of that, and so I got fortunate. I obviously was able to landed a job as a software engineer in the tech space, and I wanted to, put myself out there to become that person that I was looking for when I was in that space, looking to find somebody to connect with. And so I wanted to build an audience online, put myself out there so people can reach out and have me, talk to them about what's happening behind the curtains, give them advice if I can, even look over resumes because I've done that for some folks. And also, provide referrals and stuff, help out in ways that I can. I mean, now that I've been able to gain some audience, it's hard trying to be able to cater to everyone who reaches out, but I try to do my best in that regard. Yeah.
That's really cool. I'm sure that the response has been great with like the information that you've
Yeah.
offered. Do you feel like the initial feedback that you were getting, like the gratification you're getting from helping people with Ferdie Dev, did that translate quickly into Creator Brand Hub, or did it take a little bit longer? Because I know that was a much bigger endeavor. You had to build the website, you had to build the platform, and you had to really bring people in.
Right. So, yeah, the I guess second part of that question is, the platform that I've built, which is Creator Brand Hub to help creators and promote transparency in the influencer space in general. So, being in the creative space, working with a ton of brands, I realized there's a gap there, especially when brands are reaching out to creators and when there's payment involved, there isn't a clear cut as to how much to price, to charge some of these brands coming in. And oftentimes, brands actually do work with agencies. The agencies would take a lot of the
Mhm.
money and then just try to cut corners and have creators just kind of work for free. And I've worked with a ton of brands, you name it, some of the big brands, and I've lost out on opportunities because I didn't know exactly how much to price myself, right? And I've been taken advantage of as well by brands because I price myself too low. So and also just working with brands and agencies in general, the whole process of collaboration, with them asking for analytics and all these other things, I saw there's a gap there. So with my software engineering background and obviously the experience that I had gained from creating content, I just decided to work on a platform to try and help in that regard. So first promote transparency in the influencer space, but then also provide opportunities to some of the creators that are going to be leveraging the platform. Yeah.
There really is a huge gap in that transparency. I think every creator who's been at it for a minute can definitely attest to what you're
Yeah.
describing about either overpricing, underpricing, and all that's just like so subjective
For sure.
that it can kind of be dizzying at times trying to navigate.
Yeah.
So having some other people to talk to, it's something that content creators don't really talk much
Mm.
about openly.
Yeah. It's
Like
it's really uncomfortable. It's
it
an uncomfortable
is.
conversation to have. I personally wouldn't be able to do it but I've had also one of the reasons why, it kind of solidified this idea
Yeah.
was, I would have creators kind of reach out to me after I had worked with the brand, asking for how much I charged them for it.
Yeah.
That is an uncomfortable conversation for me to start, even though I'm open and happy to entertain it, right? I
Yeah.
just can't start it. So I just realized how about we have a space that, you don't have to deal with the discomfort of having to go to somebody to go ask them how much they got paid for a specific
Yeah.
collab, right? But then just go there and everything is going to be there anonymously. You can do your own research and hopefully be able to get the most out of collaborations. Yeah.
I mean, I love it. I think that like even if it's just like a glass door, maybe on the surface it might have seemed like something that people might have been afraid to speak out,
Yeah.
put their name, tie their name to some negative feedback
Exactly.
about a
Right.
company. But people really rely on that. Employees rely on that to understand like what am I signing up for? And if brands had more accountability with the experience that they put
Right.
people through sometimes, I think that might level the playing field. It might shift things a little bit so
For
that
sure.
creators don't feel like they have no power to
Exactly.
negotiate.
Exactly. So
That's cool,
trying to
man.
put power in the hands of creators.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. How's the community building been? Like, would you feel what kind of came first? The community that then led to you like trying to create this space and help people more, or do you feel like you were already putting in the work out there to help through Ferdie Dev, Creator Brand Hub, and then the community followed? Like, describe the community journey if you could.
Yeah. I would say, going in, the whole mindset was to build a community for sure.
Okay.
Like I had already, explained, I knew how hard it was trying to find people that look like me in the
Yeah.
space, in the tech space. Because, back in 2020, everybody working from home. That's when TikTok became a thing. We got all these creators creating content about tech and how
Yeah.
glamorous that lifestyle was. And
Is it
yeah.
still glamorous?
That's what I mean. We now starting to go back to the office, so it's not as
S-
glamorous as it
Yeah.
used to be.
A
But
commute. A commute is not
yeah,
glamour.
for sure. But yeah, the whole mindset going in was to try and build a community. To
That's cool.
put myself out there so that folks could just reach out and I can help in ways that I could, right? And
Yeah.
so it was the community first approach going in. But then obviously being in the space, a lot of other things came as a byproduct. And one of them, which I didn't really think about when I was first going into content creation, was just kind of working with brands. And I've been fortunate to work with some of the big brands like Microsoft, Meta, you name it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the mindset going in was just to build a community because I know how important that is. And I've not gone this far without a community, right? So yeah, it was just to build a community, give back, and hopefully, get something in return.
I love that. So describe like for you, what is community, right? Because I think there's something that everyone can say community is, but some people community can be different things. So for you, like what do you get from it? And like what do you get back?
In a few words, I would say community is just having a backbone, something that you can rely on. You can get help from because, that's really important. We all need help one way or another.
Yeah.
So having a community provides you with support 100%. And yeah, you get help, you offer help. And one thing that I would say when it comes to, trying to build a community is to not only approach that trying to get something out of it. It's really important for you to want to offer, and then obviously you're gonna receive in abundance. But yeah, always go in trying to offer something. It does not really matter what it is that you have. The slightest thing could be appreciated by a ton of people. So just kind of approach that whole thing with trying to offer, advice, help. Um, and then yeah, you're gonna get a lot in abundance.
I love that. We talked about, let's see, we talked about your origin story, talked about Creator Brand Hub. Now we're talking about like community. Um, let's dive into like I guess like a more personal side of community.
Sure.
Like for you and me, like we're men,
Yeah.
and community, like to put it bluntly, for men is um, it's a area that could use some improvement,
Yeah.
some self development, if you will. Men just aren't good at it. Men are not good at being as communal, as social, and open in the same way that women are. So, would you agree? Like, has that been your experience? And like, what are some things that you're kind of navigating as you find community as a man in Austin?
I definitely do agree with what you just said. I think when it comes to, building community, it's a lot difficult for men because we kind of struggle being vulnerable with each other. And oftentimes when it comes to, like our relationships, it's more surface level, right? Where you
Yeah,
just kind of meet up and, chop it up, right? Just talk about just surface level stuff and just kind of go about our business. But I think it's really important to build more authentic connections with other men and foster that community. And that can only happen by just being vulnerable, also being curious and asking questions and learning about each other, and also just making time to spend time together. And I want to give you props to that. That's one thing that you really do a great job at is, reaching out and trying to make up time to just have a one-on-one time to talk. And I
yeah,
think that's really important because that's when you're able to talk about personal stuff and stronger connections get formed from those conversations. And so it's really important that we as men just kind of make time for other men, right?
yeah,
Just meet up in a group, one on one, have conversations about real life stuff, stay curious, ask questions, you
yeah.
know be open to help if help is needed, and just spend time together. And I think it's really important. I think that, like I said, I'll give you props for that. You do a great job at trying to foster
Thanks, man.
those relationships. And
I
yeah, I
appreciate
think
that.
over the years, myself and you, we've been able to build a pretty solid friendship, I'd
Yeah, yeah,
say,
I'd say so. And
which is
yeah,
not just about, networking or like just kind of working on or collaborating on
yeah,
things, but more so just talking about personal stuff as well. So
yeah, talking about real life,
yeah, yeah, in real life,
which
a lot
can
of
be
stuff.
kind of hard,
Yeah, you can't definitely
Some
can't.
people in our lives, maybe they don't, everyone fits in a different way, right?
Yeah,
Kind of like puzzle pieces. And some people um, don't seem as open, right, to talking about some deeper things. They could be great connections, they could be good friends in some ways.
yeah,
And sometimes it can be kind of hard to figure out, like with some friends, hey, is this someone I can open up a little bit more with and ask them some deeper questions?
yeah,
I think, at least for me as a guy, I often feel, well, I don't necessarily want to pry. I think guys are pretty good at respecting boundaries in that sense. We're
boundaries.
always just like, hey, I don't want to overstep.
Yeah,
But it's important to kind of just either just like have someone to share something with. Like you could be the first person to kind of take up a little space and or
yeah,
create that space where you both can talk and be
for
like, hey,
sure.
so man, I'm having a tough day. Or like these projects I'm working on are really like testing my morale right now,
Yeah,
and my my confidence. And that's important. It's okay. It's all right to have a moment where like you want to talk about something. Um, so everyone needs friends who can kind of be there in that way.
that, yeah,
Um,
friends. We need to have a community. We need to
yeah,
have, some people in our back pocket that we can always kind of rely on and be able to
yeah.
reach out to in times of need. So yeah,
So guys who are out there, if you're listening, I know you are. We have men and women
yeah,
in the ATX Creator Meetups groups, events that we host. It's becoming an awesome mix, which is great to see. But yeah, but like our conversations about like men's mental health and community, I've talked with other men too. There definitely is an opportunity area
for
for
sure.
men to take a little more risk, just like get out a little bit
Yeah,
more, give people a chance. Give yourself a chance in a new space and you'll be surprised. But it does take that effort to get out there and be a little uncomfortable.
yeah.
Um, yeah, and it's not easy, but a lot of good things in life aren't easy.
No, 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 exactly. And
Yeah.
we were talking about this earlier. It's just embracing the discomfort, right? You got to put yourself out there.
Yep.
You gotta once you go out to like some of these meetups or whatever, you just gotta step up. Try to start a conversation, and you might be surprised by how that's gonna get received. But yeah, always try to take the initiative and approach somebody, right? Start a
Yeah.
conversation. Yeah,
And you mentioned a little earlier too, like that follow up, right? Like when if you meet someone and you enjoy talking with them, setting up time. Like a lot of times guys will wait for things to happen. They'll wait for the
exactly.
guys to get together
Yeah,
as a group. Whereas women, I've noticed, especially with my fiance, if her and someone click, like someone is gonna be like, we're getting coffee.
100%.
And guys, I've seen guys start to do this more, but that's I think one area. It's one easy thing. Just set up a time.
Yeah,
Um, just get together and it takes a little time. It's almost like when you date, you don't always have the initial
yeah.
first connection with someone.
Uh-huh.
You kind of have to have some follow-up interactions. Like you, all right, let's go out again, give this person another chance. But with friends, I think sometimes people can just be like,
Yeah,
I'm good.
that's definitely one thing that I got to work on for sure myself. And I'm just gonna own up to it.
uh, it's a safe space here. Appreciate
Yeah,
the honesty.
of course.
Yeah, I think we all can. I think especially how busy life can get.
Hmm.
People can, I mean, I know I'm guilty too. I'll be like, well, I have a lot to do.
Yeah,
This feels like an extracurricular,
I know.
but
Yeah.
it's important still to make that time. Let me ask you, pivot real quick and ask you, like, what was your first experience like going to a networking event? And like, was it all good? Were you kind of hesitant? Did it take a few networking creator events to feel comfortable in that kind of environment, or was it like instant? Hey, this is cool. I'm glad I took the chance to get out there.
I would say that here in Austin, I think the first one that I came to was it was an ATX Creator event. I think it was late last year.
Oh, cool.
I
Oh, one of the
believe so.
ones we hosted?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
awesome. Our
And
early goals. Yeah,
yeah, it was great. I actually invited a few friends to be a part of it as well.
that's
So
right.
that made
Your
it
brother,
a lot easier. My brother
Brady.
came, yeah, a few other friends,
Nice.
came as well. So that made, the whole interaction a lot easier. And I
That's
think
good.
that's recommended for sure. If you go into a space that
Yeah.
you don't really know anyone there, it's really important to, at least invite a friend or a relative, sibling, whatever. Just
Yeah.
go with them because it makes the first interactions with other people a lot easier. So yeah, I would say it was pretty easy, and we kind of clicked,
Yeah.
from there. And yeah, a great, friendship has been able to form from that. So yeah,
That's cool,
appreciate
man.
that. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. I was like, oh man, there are some stylish guys here in Austin.
I,
When I first saw you
I
guys.
wouldn't say all
Some would say, many people have said in our circle that you're a stylish individual. Would you agree, disagree? How did you get into fashion? Like, is it just in your DNA, or is it something that you've kind of learned, grown to appreciate over time?
I don't know. I wouldn't really call myself a fashionable guy. I think
Yeah, I'm just quoting. I'm just quoting the people.
I think, I put a couple pieces together and I
Okay,
guess
you
they
just
they, they go well together.
okay.
So,
All right.
but yeah, I wouldn't really call myself to be a fashionable guy. I think when it comes to fashion, you just got to know who you are and what kind of works with you and what doesn't necessarily. So for me,
Okay.
it's just, over the years, I would say it's kind of been like try and error. And then you figure out what kind of works for, your physique, your body type, and you just kind of stick with it. And like
Okay.
I'm pretty consistent with how I dress, and
Yeah.
it's something that you'd always see. It's I'm pretty consistent with it. So it's
Yeah.
just kind of knowing what kind of works for you and sticking to it.
That's really cool. I totally agree with what you said about like knowing yourself. Then it's a way of expressing, and if you're in tune with who you are, then yeah, getting dressed should be like a second nature thing.
Yeah,
You find a style that kind of speaks to you, and it's almost like an extension of you too.
100%.
For me, I feel like I dress intentionally, I dress consistently, and those are things I try to
Right.
be,
Yeah.
and elevated, but also approachable. So yeah, and also I don't necessarily follow trends, which is true in
Same.
many aspects of my life. So I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I can agree to that. I don't really follow trends. I just whatever works, just stay consistent with it.
yeah,
And then, it gets to a time where you want to switch things up. You try different things, you figure out
yeah.
what works, and you kind of go with the new discovery. So yeah.
I feel like there's a little New York swag to your
Yeah.
style, so I
Hey,
think it's representing where you're
what can I
from,
say? I'm from the
even though
Bay.
you have an
I've got
LA
LA,
hat,
it's
but
I picked the wrong hat. But
for today,
it's all good though.
that's all good. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a love between LA and New York.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but either way, I mean, they're both also very stylish cities,
Yeah.
and Austin is not a stylish city. So I feel like, yeah, people blend in when they move here, but there's a lot of their essence they bring it, and they kind of wear it as a representation of where they're from.
Yeah. I agree 100%.
Oh man, well, this is a great discussion. Is there anything else you feel like we should dive into before we wrap up today?
Oh,
Let me check
check
my
the
notes.
notes.
Yeah, one moment, please, everyone. Um, yeah, I guess I will ask you, what does creativity teach us about ourselves? We talked a little bit about community, importance of that. Um, so yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on like self-development through creativity, growth, and yeah, what does that mean to you?
You can, start with
All right, I'll start. So, um, yeah, I feel like when you're creative, you're using a different muscle of your brain that isn't necessarily like, um, oh man, this is a really good question. I should have been prepared to answer this. Yeah, with creativity, it's like a curiosity. I feel like
yeah.
it's very important to be curious in life. You're um, you're expressing an interest, you're expressing a passion, and you're learning and growing through something that maybe isn't necessarily tied to like a dollar amount. It's just something that kind of intrinsically inspires you. You can learn more about what you like and enjoy through being creative. You can also learn what you don't like.
Mhm.
Maybe if you're interested in trying creative endeavor, if you're like, oh, I want to take up painting, it looks beautiful, it's inspiring, then you realize, oh, I don't actually have any talent.
Right.
It's also good, yeah, to know like where your limits lie. But I think creativity is important as especially when life can be stressful. We have a lot of challenges in life. It's good to have something that is an outlet that you can just kind of be free to do it your own way.
Yeah.
life is so structured. Just thinking about like whether you work in corporate or if you have like your own business, there's a lot of things that you have to do that aren't necessarily for you. They're not
Yeah,
necessarily for
exactly. Yeah.
fun. So those are a few things that come to mind. I really should have thought more about that question because I am very passionate about the importance of creativity. I feel like I was giving better answers when I was talking about creativity at the meetup last weekend, but um, here we are. So I'm gonna turn it over to you, see if you can give a better stab at why creativity is good
I mean,
for us.
I think it's really like you already, talked about a lot just happen in our day-to-day life and also with our jobs. A lot of times, things get a little repetitive, right? With a career. So it's really important to have like an outlet, even if you're not on social media, right?
Yeah,
Posting about whatever it is that you're working on. It's still really important to have like things to decide that you can always kind of turn to and invest some time into and to get some fuel out of as well, just from doing it, right?
yeah,
Me, for example, obviously I create content around the things that I'm interested in. And so a lot of like the creative things that I do are things that I'm personally passionate about, like, my office setup, for example.
yeah,
And so just being in there, the space that I've been able to create for myself, I could just stay in there for hours and I do not get burnt out. I'm not tired. I'm just having a great time. It's a space that I've been able to create for myself. And whenever I'm in there doing creative things, I just don't get tired of doing it. And so I think it's really important to identify what it is that you're passionate about, invest time into it, and just do it. Whether it's for social media, for personal um gratification or whatever the case may be, just spend time doing it, and yeah, you learn a lot from it, and you never really know exactly what that might turn into, right? Because
yeah,
like me, for example, was just from creating content, putting it out there. All of a sudden, I got all these brands coming in. I started making a
yeah,
dollar out of it, and it's still something that I enjoy doing, and I just make some money out of it. Also, one thing that I would say, just to kind of add to it, was I always hoped that I could travel for work, right?
mm-hmm,
But I ended up becoming an engineer, and engineers typically don't really travel. We just sit behind computers and just clicky clacky, and that's all we do.
yeah,
But just venturing into, the creative space and creating content has allowed me to be able to tap into that, thing with traveling that I really wanted it to be a part of like my lifestyle.
yeah,
Yeah, just from working with brands. And so if it's opened up different avenues that it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't put myself out there, creating content and kind of stepping into my creative endeavors. Yeah.
I love that. I think you said it better than me. But yeah, for those of you out there, if you're thinking about doing something creative,
Yeah.
definitely like you owe it to yourself to give it a try, see what you're
100%.
good at, see what you like. Um, just to do something your own way. We all have such unique perspectives in life too,
100%.
that like no one's gonna do the same thing like the same way. I know two people are.
Oh, like you do it.
Yeah,
Like two people could be doing the same thing, but there's definitely going to be very distinct differences as to
yeah,
how, you guys are doing it. And so even when it comes to like in the creative space with setup enthusiasts like myself,
yeah,
I have a lot of friends kind of doing that, or I say I've made a lot of friends in the space who are creating content like that, but we all are unique in our ways. So there are times where like I could find like a random setup or whatever on the internet, and I know exactly what that belongs to. And so yeah,
that's cool.
yeah,
Yeah, everyone they have their own distinct style, whether they realize
100%.
it or not.
Yeah,
Their own brand.
yeah,
So if you're out there, do something creative. Do it for you. Um, let's talk about finding community. So we've talked about how communities benefited us. We've talked about some personal experiences. Um, yeah, let's talk about what are some ways people can go out and find a space that's theirs, like whether it's a platform or even maybe just some best practices.
yeah. I would say that I think first off, do something, right? Just
Yeah,
it has to
do something.
start by
I like
just
that.
doing something, right? And once you start doing it, if it's something that, you find a lot of interest in, you find a lot of like happiness just doing, then try to find other people who are doing the same thing that you're curious about or that you're finding a lot of, happiness just doing. And you might be surprised. It does not really matter what it is. It could be the most niche thing, and you're gonna find a community out there that are doing the same thing, and just put
Yeah.
yourself out there. Get outside, get in the mix, get curious, ask questions, and you're gonna learn a lot about what other people are doing in that same space, and you're gonna gain a lot of like insight and also inspiration just from that. But I think it starts from just being curious and also not being scared to like put yourself out there,
Yeah.
asking questions and just being a part of the community in general.
I love that you said do something. So it does start with that. Like you have to have an interest in order to go outside. You have to find like you got to be intentional. Okay, like if you're lonely, there are a lot of lonely people out there. You have to think about like what event or
Yeah,
what like particular club or
exactly.
hobby.
Right.
You have to figure out an interest, and then from there you can find things to do on Eventbrite. You can find things on Threads, Instagram. These are very, very social
Mhm.
platforms where people are actually they're really looking for
Yeah,
that connection. I think we all are
100%.
looking for community in some way or another.
Yeah,
Um, and then from there, it's the follow through. You have to then be ready to feel uncomfortable.
right.
Some people are type A, they can just go out and do whatever and just be in new spaces.
Yeah,
If it doesn't work out, that's fine. But I know for a lot of people, especially creativity, um, niches seem to have a lot of introverts. And our events have thankfully brought in a lot of introverts too.
100%. Yeah.
You have to take that initial step to be uncomfortable. And then from there, those connections will follow. But um, yeah, it starts with
Yeah,
yeah finding direction and then
for sure.
yeah go
And to
ahead
add to that, you don't even got to be great or good at whatever it is that you're trying to do, right?
yeah
You just if you have passion, if you found passion in whatever it is, you don't got to be really good at it. Just get out there. You're gonna learn a lot more from other folks who are
yeah
doing the same thing, or your interest might even peak in something else. Something adjacent,
yeah
something similar. And so don't always, worry about, being great at it or having the large following or whatever, since obviously, we are in the creative space.
yeah
Just get outside because once upon a time I had zero followers. Once upon a time
yeah
I had zero followers.
yeah
And so, you got to start from
that's
somewhere.
true
So you don't got to be great at whatever it is that you're doing, or you don't got to have the right audience behind you. You don't got to be great at it.
yeah
Just get out there, find a community. And also one thing about community is that it keeps you in check and it keeps you accountable, right?
yeah
And once you've been able to find that community doing the same thing as you're doing, you don't want to kind of take a step back because then obviously there are going to be some serious ones among in the community who are going to be posting, who are going to be
yeah
showing up to the events, who are going to be doing the work. And so that kind of keeps you accountable and makes you want to do better because you started with folks and you want to end with them. And so just being a part of the community in general kind of keeps you in check and helps you stay consistent. And so it's really important to be a part of the community.
very well said.
Yeah.
um um what's the word I'm looking for? Diving in a little deeper to like Instagram threads. You and I met through threads when I
100%.
had promoted an event.
Yeah.
I know that you've also connected with a few people through threads as well.
100%.
You just met one of them. Did you meet them for the last time or first time this past weekend?
No, no, no.
Oh, you
I
met her
actually met
before.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, cool,
So
cool.
Threads has been a great space to meet creatives in general. And
Yeah,
I kind of call Threads to be a platform for creators. And so if you are a creative, I think Threads is a great place, a platform to be on. Unlike, the other one, um, Threads is more people in Threads are more nicer. It's less toxicity happening there.
yeah.
And yeah,
Definitely more community
yeah,
focused.
100%. People leverage, threads to connect. And yeah, personal story. A few months ago when I had actually launched my platform, Creator Brand Hub, I just went out with a few friends, and yeah, I got recognized by somebody on Threads from Threads.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
got recognized by, and we've become good friends. Like we would hang out
Yeah,
sometimes, grab coffee, have a co-working session. And last week's, ATX Creator Meetup, she came through.
yeah,
So Threads is a great community to connect with folks, also to promote your product. I would say that majority of the traffic that comes to Creator Brain Hub are from threads. And
Yeah.
it kind of finds your audience and it puts your content right in front of them. And so whether it be, like location specific content, you know, if you're gonna make a post about Austin, for example, it's gonna find, people that are locals here in Austin and just show the content to them. So you can make a lot of great connections, from that. And the same applies to wherever city you're at, whatever city you're in.
Yeah.
If you're trying to find like a local community, Threads is definitely a great place to do that. And yeah, it's easy too, right? Just if you could think, you could definitely type out some
If
and
you can think, you can thread.
exactly you could thread, right? It's not the same as creating content, whether it's reels or whatever on Instagram where you got to pick up a camera. Threads you could just be laid up with the blanket on and everything and still be able to
Yep. Yeah.
type up something and then post it. So it's a great platform.
It really is. It surprises me sometimes at how quickly it can connect you with people you're looking for.
Yeah.
I've found models for shoots through threads like within a day or two.
Yeah.
It's really helped grow the ATX Creator Meetups following our network.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of new people through threads to find our space
Mhm.
in our events. So it really does this thing. Um, Zuckerberg, if you're listening, great job with threads. The Instagram algorithm, though, it's a whole nother topic.
A lot of
But
time.
that's where a community comes in to
Yeah.
support you when you feel like no
Exactly.
one's seeing your work.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Maybe talk about the challenges.
yeah, this was a great discussion. And is there anything else that we want to dive into before we
Maybe we
go?
really talked about some of the challenges that we face as creatives in general.
Okay.
Um,
All right. Yeah. Let's dive into um, let's move on to challenges that creators face. So this could be a long and broad list. So how specific? Where do we want to start?
I would say that, oftentimes one of the first challenges that kind of, just pops into my mind is just the beginning, right? Once you start creating content,
Oh man, that is
it's
the
a
hardest part.
it's a
Just
long
getting started.
space to be in.
You know how long I've been like holding off starting this podcast?
Yeah. Starting to create content, the early stages is a long place to be. Because
Yeah.
obviously you're not a creator yet. You're not an influencer yet, or whatever. You don't have an audience. But you still gotta show up, right? And you gotta be consistent at doing it to be able to build an audience. So you kind of start without having an audience, but then you still gotta show up like you have an audience. And so that whole
Yeah.
process is extremely difficult. And on top of that, family, friends who, have known you from the past don't really understand the new phase that you're trying to like get into. And so that whole process, so I had to deal with that when I had started creating content, with, friends making, throwing little comments, oh, you think you're an influencer now? Like, I'm tired of seeing you posting computers and stuff.
Then why are you following me, bro?
Exactly. And so that whole phase is very challenging. But
Uh,
just don't pay attention to the noise that's coming in and also just find a community because that's going to keep you accountable and help you stay consistent at just posting. So yeah, that's one of them. And then the second part I would say is, the whole algorithm thing, right? And trying to find the right audience because
yeah, just being seen can be
being seen can be hard. You could be putting out phenomenal content, great value, but then also value is subjective, right? And so you could be
that
posting
is very
a
true.
lot of great content, but not get seen. But that's where, having a community kind of comes in because you'd be surprised that a lot of other people, a lot more creators are actually will be having the same problems you
Yeah.
then, so it's really important to have a community that, you can bounce ideas off of and also just find um find comfort in, right? Have conversations about some of the struggles and like I said, you could be surprised to learn that they're also dealing with the same issues and
Yeah.
it's going to make you feel less alone in that whole process. And so it's really important to, have a community, but the challenges are going to come, the algorithm sometimes are going to be up, other times going to be down. You just got to ride the waves and just keep going.
It's very true. I would say creators face a lot of uh, they struggle. The creators struggle a lot with overcoming like the vanity metrics,
Mhm.
like ignoring them. when brands often look at that kind of stuff. They look at your reach and their following. Um, your work is very important, of course, and I think now that like user generated content or UGC is becoming more accessible for
Yeah.
creators, that's a good way to get paid for amount, to get some good partnerships just based on good work alone.
Hmm.
But you still need reach, right, to reach a lot of those brands.
100%.
So that
Right.
vanity metrics side, I think, is hard, especially
And
for newer creators.
it's definitely hard. It's definitely hard because, like, I would say some of the biggest, partnerships that I've had, I just got discovered from TikTok or Instagram, from social
Yeah,
media. And without the reach, it's almost impossible to get discovered.
yeah.
But you just got to keep going. Like, you can't stop. You just got to
No.
keep posting, and you
If you're
might.
passionate, you have to keep
Exactly.
going.
If you're passionate, you got to keep going, and you're gonna get lucky. That's
Yeah.
guaranteed that one day, it may take a year, 10 years, 20 years, I don't know. But hey, as long as, as
Takes
long
time.
as you keep going, you're
Keep
definitely
putting
gonna get
yourself out there.
exactly, you're definitely gonna get lucky one day. And opportunities are just gonna start finding it. Yeah,
I agree. Very well said, man. This is a great discussion.
of course.
And yeah, just a reminder to everyone out there too, if your work matters. So even if it's not getting seen right away, or if the algorithm is suppressing it,
Hmm.
it's important to just remember that what you're doing is important. Your perspective is unique and it's special. So good work and determination will continue to pay off one
Yeah.
way or another. Even if it isn't on Instagram, maybe you'll make some connections offline that can lead to what you're pushing for.
Like I said, value is subjective.
It
So it
is.
does not really matter. You may not even deem something as valuable, but to somebody else is gold.
Yeah.
So just don't worry about, especially if you want to put yourself out there, don't worry about the quality of the work. Just
Yeah. There
put
are people that appreciate it.
exactly like,
Yeah.
and I'm learning, as I go, because before, like, if I would make like a mistake or whatever, like a typo or whatever, grammar
Mhm.
in my captions and stuff like that, it would bother me, right? But not
Yeah.
anymore. You kind of learn from those mistakes, and at the end of the day, you're human. You're
Yeah.
gonna make mistakes, right? So just keep going. That's all I had to say. Yeah.
Amen. All
Yeah.
right, so let's end it there. I don't know if the batteries are going to hold out much longer either for the memory cards. So before we go though, like where can people find you?
Yeah. So my Instagram is Ferdie.dev. It's the same for TikTok, Ferdie.dev. And my YouTube is Tech with Ferdie. I make content about, tech, the whole tech lifestyle, also product reviews and unboxing videos. And also now with my business, pretty much talking about, transparency in the influencer space, and also working with brands trying to provide opportunities to creators. So yeah, and it's creatorbrand.hub on Instagram. The website
Creatorbrand.hub.
is creatorbrandhub.com. Yeah,
We're going to put all this in the captions and in the description of these videos. And I'm going to put some text overlay on the screen too, so you guys can follow, support Ferdie.dev, learn about opportunities for creators, pay transparency, all sorts of information and more through that platform. Thank you again,
of course.
Mr. Ferdie.dev, for being here today.
I
Um,
appreciate it, Steve.
appreciate you as a friend
Yeah.
and also as a peer in this fast social media space. And follow along for more, everyone. We'll see you next time.